Greg in Enid, speaking of Oklahoma, in Enid, Oklahoma. I hope your town is okay, Greg.
Yeah, we are. We dodged that bullet. Just my heart goes out to the folks down in Moore. Just hard to believe they got nailed again.
Yeah, and today it's raining. Another storm line just went through there, which has got to be just heartbreaking if you've survived it and you're trying to find the family photos and birth certificates and things in the wreckage. Anyhow, it says you wanted to disagree with me about something.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, I just want to let you know I am from Oklahoma, so chances are I am a conservative.
Okay.
But I do like your show, and I listen to you frequently. You kind of spun me up a little bit. I think you're kind of being disingenuous and kind of hyper partisan on this deal. First of all, you mentioned that isn't it weird how Oklahoma's a small state with 2 senators, and I'm sure you had a tongue in cheek when you were saying that.
Well, let me give you the rest of that rant. We have. And because we have small states with 2 senators, and one of those senators is a regular on this show, Bernie Sanders from Vermont. There's only 600,000 people in Vermont, pretty much like Oklahoma. Because of that, and because most of those states are not like Vermont, which is a very liberal state, they're very conservative states like your state of Oklahoma, you have 40 senators out of the 100 in the United States Senate who represent, the majority of whom represent small conservative states, who represent about 16%, if I'm remembering correctly, of the population of the United States able to kill legislation. And that seems to me wrong. Now, the solution to that, I don't think, is to strip your state or Vermont of one of its senators. I think the solution to that comes, in the Constitution and then at law, where we talk about the apportionment. How many people are elected as representatives? You add, historically, up until 1929, we have added to the House of Representatives as our population grew. So our House of Representatives grew from 20 or 30 at the founding of the Republic to 435 now, and frankly, I think it should grow a little more. But I would submit to you that we should have something in the Constitution that says that when a state's population exceeds a certain threshold, and I would toss 15 million into the pot because that's about the size of New York City these days. When it exceeds 15 million, it has to divide. It has to split, sort of like bacteria dividing. Meiosis rather than mitosis. And I think that California should be 3 states: Northern California, Central California, Southern California. I think Texas should be 2 states, East and West, or North and South. I think Florida should be 2 states, Southern Florida and then Central and Northern Florida. I think New York should be 2 states, Manhattan and the rest of New York. And if we did those things, those very simple, straightforward things, you would have states that proportionally were more equally sized, number one. And number two, the makeup of the Senate, including the minority that can filibuster, would more accurately represent the profile of the United States of America. And I think that would serve all of us well. So that's that. I started to go down that road, and then I stopped myself, and it came out the way that you described, and you're right. That was very inartful. My apologies.
Well, and I don't know what world that would ever happen, but the reason our founders, it would never happen. The reason it's set up like this is to give the smaller states equal access to the political system. Otherwise, the House of Representatives it'd be majority rule, and
yeah. I'm just saying that the people in the large states are getting screwed badly. I mean, for you in Oklahoma, your vote for senator has 36 times more impact than a Californian's vote for senator.
I understand, but they have more representatives, so it's
in the House.
I'm sorry. Yes, they have. Yeah, they have more representation in the House, and that's the genius of the system. But the other thing that I kind of took offense to, and I've met Senator Coburn. We took a trip to Washington a while back, and had the privilege to sit down with him. And he's a very level-headed person, and what he's interested in is making sure that our country does not continue down the path to financial oblivion. And concerning the
well, why then is he doing everything he can to send us to financial oblivion?
Pardon me?
why is he doing everything he can to send us to financial oblivion? I would say that he's not concerned with financial oblivion. He's concerned with socialism. He does not want us to become a democratic socialist country like Finland or Sweden or Norway or Germany or like that.
Right. Well, nobody west of New Jersey wants that. I mean, as far or maybe California, but everybody else in the middle does not want that.
Well, actually, not true, Greg.
Well, no, it is true.
When you ask people about specific programs, when you ask people, do you think that everybody in the country should be able to go to college for free, paid for by the government? You get responses, Democratic and Republican, that are over 70%. When you ask, do you think that everybody should have health care in this country paid for universally by the government? You get answers, Democratic and Republican, over 70%.
Well, when I go to the ice cream shop, I want to double dip for the price of a single, but the facts are the facts, and we can't afford that. And
we're the richest country in the world, Greg. What do you mean we can't afford it?
We're $17 trillion in debt, Tom. Who is going to...
We can easily afford it, Greg. That's nothing.
Oh, my God.
When we came out of World War II, our debt-to-GDP ratio was 129%. Our debt was 129% of GDP. And you know how Republican President Dwight Eisenhower got us out of that debt? He borrowed money and spent it to send GIs to college and to build the national highway system. And that stimulated the economy so brilliantly that we had 3 consecutive decades of GDP growth of over 3%, the first time it has ever happened in the history of the United States.
I can point to France, I can point to Britain, I can point to Spain, I can point to Greece, I can point to Portugal. Those socialist democratic states do not work. They have never worked.
Not true. Not true. They were working just fine until they were working just fine. Well, in the case, let's break this apart. First of all, in the case of the UK, they were working just fine until you got a conservative government that said we're going to impose austerity, and now they're having a triple dip recession. They own their own currency though. In the case of France, they're not doing so bad right now, thank you very much. The standard of living and the quality of life in France is much better than in the United States overall. Level of education is higher. Level of healthcare is better. We are like 27th in the world in most of these things. And with regard to Greece and Spain, had they never given up their own currency, they wouldn't be in the situation they're in right now. They've been screwed by joining the EU, which I've been saying from day one was a bad idea, and the only way that they're going to get out of it is by leaving the EU and going back to the peso and the drachma.
Well, and I, quite frankly, probably would not disagree with you on some of those issues that you just said. I think the thing that really frosted me the most was when you said that Tom Coburn said, and I think I'm quoting you, that we're going to have to take the food out of the mouth of starving children. He didn't say that. What he said was we're going to have offsets. And what you could have easily said.
No, I got it, Greg. But you would have to agree with me that Tom Coburn is no fan of social welfare programs. Greg, we're out of time. I'm sorry.